What's up, y'all? Welcome to the third video in how to start over. We talked about in the first video what to wear, clothing, how to handle yourself when you're outside to keep from getting cold, to handle your body's core temperature. We talked about in our second video how to handle transportation and using transportation as actually a form of shelter, even if you don't own a vehicle. We talked about getting bikes at our local flea markets and pawn shops and using that as a way to get in between different spots in the city where you can get resources. Number 3, let's talk about where to sleep and shelter. And we hit on this a little bit in the last video, but we're going to kind of talk about more in depth. There's no gear per se if you want to do this urban. If you are in an urban area, I would lean, in addition to riding the buses and the train system, I would lean toward one more purchase that if you have any money, you put 2 or 3 months away at a gym membership. You get a gym membership for $10 to $20 a month. If you have that last check and you put that away, because that gym membership is going to give you 24-hour access to a place with heat. Even if you go there and you just walk on a treadmill and you just watch TV, that gives you a place to not only rest and walk and get exercise, but it also gives you a free shower. The only other place that I know of that you can shower at cost is a truck stop. And truck stop showers can be very, very expensive. I only use those if I am being extremely transient, meaning I'm going between one city and another in the wintertime and I need somewhere to stop. I don't do that. I always would stick with a gym membership and try to get a gym membership with a chain that's going to be in the states that you know. If you can find a gym membership in a nationwide with a nationwide chain for $20 a month, then that's good, because any city that you go to work, you'll always have this place that acts as a secondary shelter. What I found is there is swing times in the bus schedules where between 1 o'clock in the morning and 4:30 in the morning, like that 3-hour window, there's no buses running. So to stay out of the coldest of the cold, if I have that gym membership, I'm golden. I'm happy. I'm not even worried about it, because I can always go to the gym and work out 3 hours and shower, and that covers those needs. If you have no choice, if you have absolutely no money that you can put toward something like that, or that's a bill, I could talk about a couple of things that you can do ahead of time. And I'm pulling this down because I want to show you what's in my pack. I prefer urban because it's just those resources. Even if I'm making $100 a month in picking up cans, or bartering music services with people, a bus card is always going to be taken care of, and a gym membership is always going to be taken care of. It's just comfortable. Another thing that you can do if you are the camping type is you can get set up with a basic set of camping gear for under $100. Again, we're going on the premise that someone has their last few checks. If you already are privy to camping, there are many places on the outskirts of your city. This is some gray area, but there are many places, depending on where you are, that you can actually go camp. And I'm set up to do that too. In my journey of losing a home, I always wanted to make sure that I had multiple settings of camp, multiple places to sleep. So one of the places that, one of the things that I've set up in my pack, how about I just drag my pack to y'all? I'm so sorry. One thing that my pack is set up to do is to provide shelter. I'm so glad that, like, I don't have to depend on having this stuff out, you know, time frame, because I've been messed up. It's very simple. You need coverage from the elements. You need insulation from the cold. Right here in this roll, wrapped up in number 36 bank line, is a tarp, a 7x9 tarp, and a twin wool blanket. Now I use the tarp costs $7, the wool blanket costs $10. I use this right now as a ground pad, but if you look online, there are many ways to use a tarp and a wool blanket like this as shelter, but not during the winter time. So I want to kind of explain a little bit more of how to keep us a little bit warmer. I scavenged this I think Walmart brand sleeping bag. It's just a cold weather. It's not a cold weather sleeping bag. It's actually a warm weather sleeping bag that I got for like $15. But I will wrap this with me still in my clothes, the layers that we talked about, inside of this, inside of the wool blanket, inside of this, with that tarp on the ground to keep the cold from pulling the heat out of me, I'm good. Another cheap option for shelter that I picked up just to keep for $15, I have a Army surplus shelter half tent that comes with metal stakes. It's made of canvas. This canvas keeps heat in. So right here in my pack, I have these 3 elements that make several different variants of shelter. I can make a basic lean-to with just the tarp, or I can set up the tarp to cover the tent to keep rain off of the canvas. But it works. It works. I couldn't set it up because my tent requires my stakes to be in the ground, and because I'm on the inside, I can't do that. But I'll try to edit some pictures in of how my setup is, so that you guys can see it. But our shelter variant, if we're urban, we use the bus system, the gyms, public libraries, and public eating places that are built to have certain nooks where you're not in nobody's face. If you do that, you will not be cold. So between layering properly, between setting up your schedules, between getting that gym membership and being able to handle that, and having this shelter option that we talked about, for very little money in terms of upfront investment, you're not going to be in the cold. You're going to be fine. Okay, other ways to find shelter are looking at entertainment. And I know this probably feels like pie in the sky right now, but there are many, in the urban area, there are many free concerts that go on in the area where you can go and you can spend a couple of hours listening to good music and just being entertained and get your mind off of the fact that you don't have certain things. Personally, if it were me, I would look to the church And when I say look to the church, I want to be very, very careful. There are many churches that have good services, that have talented singers, and these concerts are free. We call them musicals in the Baptist and Pentecostal. In the urban church, we just call it, musicals, where the local artists in the city come together and they do a worship service, and it's free to the public, and you can just come in and they take they just take a free will offering. And if you don't have any money to give, it's okay. You're there to receive. Come there, find out every church along, like, no matter what, like, denomination they are, Baptist, Catholic, Lutheran, Pentecostal, Methodist, it doesn't matter. If they have a concert that's for free, put a few of them in your schedule and then just go. Just go. Sometimes some churches like outsiders, some churches don't. But it's all about just staying warm. And you never know. Like, all types of different faiths. I can't speak for other faiths because I'm just a Christian, So, and I'm not hating on nobody. But if you start there, then you'll be okay. Several churches do several things throughout the week, especially during the holiday time. Also, learn what churches are doing, feed the hungry events or soup kitchen events or donating canned goods. You'll find a wealth of food and a wealth of shelter in those places. And before you know it, that 24-hour block of time, you have spent less time out in the cold than some homeless people do. And you've gotten entertainment, you've gotten food. It's a way to live out here. As a traveling musician, I have to do that. And I'm still living that way. Another way to get shelter is to barter it for services. Whatever you're good at and whatever you do for a living, right, or you did for a living before you lost your job, try to see if that is marketable to some people that will exchange your talent for shelter. Meaning, I'm a musician, so I will go to a church and I'll play while I'm in a certain city, and I'll be like, hey, I really can't afford, a hotel or whatever in your area, and I really don't want to charge. I just want to, take a love offering, and I'll go play basically for free, and if they bless me with a place to stay during that time, then I'm grateful for it. And that's just using the gift. But you don't have to be a musician to do this. You could, whatever your gift, if you're a handyman, speak with a small apartment owner or landlord that needs things fixed around their place, and they try to exchange it for, a place to stay. That covers your shelter variant. So before I start rambling, that'll do it. God will do it. I love y'all. You're going to make it. Hang in there.